Every year, this liturgy leaves us amazed. We pass from the joy of welcoming Jesus as he enters Jerusalem to the sorrow of watching him condemned to death and then crucified. That sense of interior amazement will remain with us throughout the Holy Week. Let us reflect more deeply into this sense of amazement. From the start, Jesus leaves us amazed. His people give him a solemn welcome, yet he enters Jerusalem on a lowly colt. His people expect a powerful liberator at Passover, yet he comes to bring the Passover of fulfillment by sacrificing himself. His people are hoping to triumph over the Romans by the sword, but Jesus comes to celebrate God's triumph through the cross. What happened to those people who, in a few days' time, went from shouting Hosanna to crying out, crucify him? What happened? They were following an idea of the Messiah rather than the Messiah. They were following an image. They admired Jesus, but they did not let themselves be amazed by him. Amazement is different from admiration. Admiration can be worldly, since it follows its own tastes and expectations. Admiration, on the other hand, remains open to others and to the newness they bring. Even today, there are many people who admire Jesus. He said beautiful things. He filled with love and forgiveness. His example changed history. They admired him, but their lives were not changed. To admire Jesus is not enough. We have to follow in his footsteps, to let ourselves be challenged by him, to pass from admiration to amazement. What is most amazing about the Lord and his Passover? It is the fact that he achieves glory through humiliation. He triumphs by accepting suffering and death, things that we, in our quest for admiration and success, would rather avoid. Jesus, as St. Paul tells us, emptied himself. He humbled himself. This is the amazing thing, to see the Almighty reduced to nothing, to see the Word who knows all things teach us in silence from the height of the cross, to see the King of Kings enthroned on a gibbet, seeing the God of the universe stripped of everything and crowned with thorns instead of glory, to see the one who is goodness personified, insulted, and beaten. Why all this humiliation? Why, Lord, did you wish to endure all this? This question amazes us. Jesus did it for us, to plumb the depths of our human experience, our entire existence, all our evilness, to draw near to us and not abandon us in our suffering and our death, to redeem us, to save us. Jesus was lifted high on the cross in order to descend into the abyss of our suffering. He experienced our deepest sorrows, failure, loss of everything, betrayal by a friend, even abandonment by God. By experiencing in the flesh our deepest struggles and conflicts, He redeemed and transformed them. His love draws close to our frailty. It touches the very things which we are most ashamed of. Yet now, we know that we are not alone. God is at our side in every affliction, in every fear. No evil, no sin will ever have the final word. God triumphs, but the palm of victory passes through the wood of the cross. For the palm and the cross are inseparable. Let us ask for the grace to be amazed. A Christian life without amazement becomes drab and dreary. How can we talk about the joy of meeting Jesus unless we are daily astounded and amazed by His love, which brings us forgiveness and the possibility of a new beginning? When faith no longer experiences amazement, it becomes dull, it becomes blind. The wonders of grace. It can no longer taste the bread of life and hear the word. It can no longer perceive the beauty of our brothers and sisters, the gift of creation. We have no other. We can take refuge into clericalism and all this secularism. During this Holy Week, let us lift our eyes to the cross in order to receive the grace of amazement. As St. Francis of Assisi contemplated the crucified Lord, he was amazed that his friars did not weep. What about us? Can we still be moved by God's love? Because how come we are not amazed anymore in front of Him? Maybe our faith has grown dull from habit. Maybe we remain trapped in our regrets and allow ourselves to be crippled by our disappointments. Maybe we have lost our trust or even feel worthless. But perhaps behind all these maybes lies the fact that we are not open to the gift of the Spirit who gives us the grace of amazement. Let us start over from amazement. Let us gaze upon Jesus on the cross and say to Him, Lord, how much you love me, how precious I am to you. Let us be amazed by Jesus so that we can start living again. For the grandeur of life lies not in the possessions and promotions, but in realizing that we are loved and in experiencing the beauty of loving others.
La grandezza della vita è proprio nella bellezza dell'amore.
In the crucified Jesus, we see God humiliated, the Almighty dismissed and discarded. With the grace of amazement, we come to realize that in welcoming the dismissed and discarded, in drawing close to those ill-treated by life, we are loving Jesus. For that is where He is, in the list of our brothers and sisters, in the rejected and discarded. Our culture is unfortunately one that condemns. Today,
subito dopo la morte di Gesù,
immediately after the death of
ci
Jesus,
svela l'icona più bella dello
a splendid
stupore.
icon of amazement.
È la scena del centurione.
It is the scene of the
che
centurion
avendolo visto
who,
spiare in quel
upon
modo, disse,
seeing that Jesus
"Davvero,
had died,
quest'uomo
said,
era figlio
"Truly,
di Dio."
this man was the Son of God."
Si è lasciato stupire dall'amore.
He allowed himself be amazed.
In che modo aveva visto morire Gesù?
How did he see Jesus die?
Aveva visto
He saw him die in love.
e questo lo stupì.
Jesus, this amazed him.
Era stremato, ma continuava ad
Jesus
amare.
suffered immensely, but he never stopped
Lo
loving.
stupore davanti
This
a
is what
Dio,
is
il
to
quale
be
sa
amazed before
riempire
God,
d'amore
who can
anche
fill
noi.
even death with love.
In questo amore gratuito,
In that
inaudito, il
gratuitous
centurione
and
non parla.
unprecedented love, the pagan centurion found God.
Davvero,
His words,
era figlio.
"Truly this man was the Son of God."
La sua frase suggella la passione.
This phrase seals the passion narrative. The Gospel tells us that many others before him had admired Jesus for his miracles and prodigious works, and he had acknowledged him as the Son of God. Yet Christ silenced them because they remained purely on the level of worldly admiration at the idea of a God to be adored and feared for his power and might. Now it can no longer be so. For at the foot of the cross, there can be no mistake. God has revealed himself and reigns only with the disarmed and disarming power of love. Brothers and sisters, today, God continues to fill our minds and hearts with amazement. Let us be filled with that amazement as we gaze upon the crucified Lord, so that we may say, "You are truly the Son of God. You are my God."